Screech by Taran NCT on AO3. Episode 19, Chapter 20. Izuku had been in a really good mood since he had gotten back from home from his date the day before, and it lasted well into the next. Denki had joined their group for lunch again, and they sat next to each other. They even held hands under the lunch table, while Izuku did his very best to imitate a strawberry. His good mood lasted well past when he got home. Most of the class had submitted their internship requests today, and Denki was going to be going with Papa just like he had suggested. And Izuku had successfully talked Momo out of going with Umabama, and was now going and entering with Fat Gum. Shouta would be going with his dad, and both Izuku and Hitoshi were, of course, gonna be with Shouta. The good mood killer was when he heard Shouta muttering about Ida going to Hosu with Manuel, and wondering if he was trying to get himself killed going after a serial killer. Izuku got from where he was watching TV with Hitoshi and walked over to Shouta and leaned up against him. "Is Ida gonna do something dumb?" he asked quietly. Shouta reached up and gently tugged at one of Izuku's curls. "He's dropping as in polite, Suzu." Izuku snorted. "It's not my fault you're talking to yourself, Dad." Izuku hooted in content, while Shouta started running his fingers through his hair. "I want to keep an eye on Ida, but I'm gonna have you and Hitoshi with me. I don't know how I feel about taking you two to Hosu." Izuku nuzzled into Shota's shoulder. "Be honest," Izuku mumbled. "Is there really a lot you need to teach me about hero work I haven't already picked up on? I have a potential solution if there isn't a lot I need to learn." Shouta was silent for a few minutes. "While there is a lot to still teach you, that won't be covered during this internship," Shouta finally admitted. "I will most likely be spending the week going into detail about patrols with Toshi, so it will be mostly review for you." Izuku nodded. "In that case, I can take to the skies and keep watch over Ida. I'll let you know if he does anything stupid. I won't engage unless necessary." Izuku glanced up at Shota's face. "How does that sound? You could take Toshi to Hosu and teach him all about how patrols work, and I'll keep watch. If you're needed, you'll be there." Izuku could see the way Shouta was weighing the options, so he decided to add another push. "Plus, I could always keep an eye out for Stain himself. If I see him, I can let you know, and we can track him down. I don't have to engage. I can just track." Shouta ruffled his hair and pushed him aside. "Go back to Toshi. I'll think about Hosu." Hitoshi was standing off to the side, with Shouta, as they waited for the entire class to gather at the train station. Shouta was annoyed that the only fire user to send him an internship request was his dad, but he wasn't too upset about it either. Honestly, the two of them were mostly upset about having to be apart for the full week that the internship would last. With the intensity of the internship and the different schedules of Limelight versus Underground, neither Shouta nor Endeavor would likely let the two boys have any personal time together. Meanwhile, Izuku and Denki were having a similar goodbye. They'd only been dating for a few days, but Izuku had been really enjoying it so far. He wasn't sure exactly what it was, but Denki just made him feel different. Like he really liked it when Denki kissed his cheek, and when they held hands, and he liked to nuzzle into Denki's side. But, well, he did that with the rest of his family too, but it felt different with Denki, and Izuku really liked the way it felt. And now he was going to have to separate for a week, since Pa was going to be spending the week doing a very intensive training requirement with Denki, and Izuku was going to be in Hosu with Toshi and Shouta, doing a heavy patrol in the city. "Zuzu," Denki said as he toyed with one of Izuku's curls. "Promise me you'll be safe?" Izuku nodded. "I'm mostly gonna just be the eye in the sky," he promised. "I'll only engage if someone's life is in direct danger." "Okay, I mean it. I finally got myself a boyfriend. I don't want to lose you already," Denki said with a wink. Izuku took Denki's hand in his and nuzzled against his cheek while blushing. Same here. I really like this, what we have right now. And don't worry, I was a vigilante for years. I know how to stay safe. Denki snorted. You know how to stay safe in the exact opposite of vigilantism, right? You sound like Shouta. Izuku giggled. I swear, Denki, I'll be back, in one piece, at the end of this week. But you have to promise me you won't let yourself get distracted worrying about me and learn everything Sashi has to teach you. Okay? I promise, Suzu. I'll have a lot more control over my quirk when you get back home. Oh, there's this rom-com that came out. When internships are over, let's go watch a movie together. And maybe dinner afterwards? Izuku nodded. Yeah, I'd like that. Once everyone had arrived at the station, Shouta made sure everyone had their costume cases, were told to be on their best behaviors, and then told that they would have a month of detention if they heard that they were less than perfect while they're with their mentors. After Shouta was sure everyone knew he was serious, he made sure Toshi, Izuku, and Ida followed him to the train to Hosu. Denki didn't get on a train. He didn't need to. Mike Sensei said the facilities at his agency would be the best if he was working with a sound or voice-based quirk. But as Denki's quirk wasn't sound or voice-based, they would be working primarily at UA's facilities. Denki was sure that Izu would never steer him wrong. So, he was trusting that Mike Sensei really was the best person to go to, and that his suggestion wasn't just because Mike Sensei was his second dad. And man, was that a trip that was to find out. He had known that Aizawa Sensei was the hero he was living with, but Hitoshi was his brother, so by default, Aizawa Sensei was Hitoshi's dad. But never in a million years would Denki have ever thought that Mike Sensei was married to Aizawa Sensei. But it kinda sorta made sense. Kaminari, glad you made it. Mike Sensei called out to him, startling Denki out of his thoughts. I'm really glad you picked me, honestly. I know there's a lot of other heroes you could have chosen, and I'm sure you had your revisions, but I'm sure we can get you to a good place by the time this week is up. I hope so too. Izu kept saying nothing but good things about you, and I've learned a lot from you. Denki grinned at Mike Sensei. You've got a lot to live up to, Mike Sensei. Yeah, let's get this party started. Mike Sensei gestured for Denki to follow him, and they reached one of the gyms. Mike Sensei brought Denki to what looks like a battery hookup. Okay, so first thing I want to talk to you about is this. Why are you obsessed with how many volts you can produce? Well, more volts equal more power, right? Denki answered hesitantly. That's what my quirk counselor said, anyways? Mike Sensei pinched the bridge of his nose in a manner very similar to Aizawa Sensei's, and Denki wasn't sure who got the habit from who. So, I need to get Nezu to investigate a quirk counselor for incompetence, huh? Okay. He muddled, louder. He said, no, volts are going to be pretty useless to you. They don't actually measure power, but rather the difference in charge that compels electrical energy to move from one place to another. Basically, it measures of how far electricity can go, as well as the likelihood to arc. As you are not a power line, and arcing is generally a bad thing for you, as it sends your electricity into the ground, where it is essentially wasted. You don't need to have a particularly high voltage. You would actually benefit from having a far lower one. Denki's eyes went wide as saucers. That's totally not what I've been taught. Yeah, that seems a bit obvious now. Mike Sensei winced. I'm going to be giving you a few books on electricity that I want you to read, but you can do that after training is done for today. Think of it as a bit of a supplement reading for what we've got going on over this week. Denki nodded, not quite happy about having to do some extra reading, but okay with it if it's going to help him be a better hero. Okay, now continuing with the problem of how many volts you use. The 1 million volts used to indiscriminate shock is overkill. Like most power outlets use 240, and some countries even have it that that's too high of an arc risk and use 120 volts as their standard. And have you ever seen what an average power line could do to a person? Spoiler, it's not pretty. So, do us all a favor. Don't use that million plus voltage thing again. You dig? Yeah, Denki whispered. Should I be writing this all down? Nah, it'll all be in the books, I give you, with a lot more detail. Mike Sensei put his hands on Denki's head. One of the main things I want to work on with you this week is minimizing your arcing. Yes, it looks super flashy, the media will love it, and you will be a walking fire hazard. Please, 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 do not become a walking fire hazard. The only time I want to see you arcing is when you are just about to touch something with your new gloves. It won't look as cool, but it will be so much safer to other people and it will reduce your casualty and potential property damage. So promise me, yeah? You're gonna lower your voltage and no more of this indiscriminate shock and nonsense? Yeah. Denki rubbed the back of his neck. Zuku already told me to stop using it because it made me short circuit too much, so don't worry about that one. Good. Mike Sensei scratched at his nose for a second, trying to figure out how to phrase the next part. While voltages are practically useless for you, what you do need to practice with is your amperage. As with the measure of the amount of electricity energies being moved at one time, it is, in a sense, the thing that makes your electricity so dangerous. It's what you will need to learn to control so as to effectively incapacitate your opponents without killing them. You would want to keep your amperage fairly low as you want to be a taser and not an electric chair. Mike Sensei gave him a sad smile. While you will inevitably lose control at some point in your career and kill someone, I don't really want it to be while you're still a student. You have a really strong quirk, and those of us with strong quirks have to keep this in mind. Accidents happen. So keep the lowest power setting you can manage, and gradually increase your power if it's really needed. Denki's eyes lit up with understanding. I really don't want to kill anyone. No one does, Kaminari, Mike Sensei said calmly. But with a quirk as powerful as yours, it's an inevitability. Hopefully not for many years, and learning this control now will keep that inevitability at bay for a long time. Mike Sensei looked at him with understanding. Do you know I'm completely deaf? He asked. Denki looked at him with confusion, not understanding the topic change, but rolling with it nonetheless. No? Mike Sensei nodded, and shifted his headphones. Yeah, I have hearing aids that are covered up by my headphones. My quirk is really powerful, and my body doesn't have any natural protection from the sheer volume I can produce. Sound waves are really freaking powerful and super dangerous. I'm sure you heard about what Izuku did to the Nomu at the USJ, right? Dinky nodded. While he had been short-circuited for the latter half of the ordeal, he didn't actually see what he did. He had been told about it, by Mina, who had watched it all go down. Sound waves. I can do that too. But I hurt myself and anyone who happens to be in the area, so I developed other techniques that are just as effective but a lot safer, while using that overwhelmingly powerful attack as a latch-ditch move. If I used it all the time, I'll have a massive casualty count and property damage would be in the billions. Mike Sensei continued. Electricity also is stupidly freaking dangerous, Kaminari. There are a lot of things that could go wrong with attacking someone with an electric attack that you might want to think about if you want to attack directly at all, or just use that as a backup. A last-ditch move, if you will. I've seen you charging cell phones by sticking the charging cable in your mouth. You could do something similar with your support gear. Have a weapon that is useless in the hands of anyone else, but you could use your electricity to power it. Now, I'm not saying that using support gear is inherently better than attacking physically. They both have their pros and cons, but it is a choice that I feel you should seriously consider. This is especially important due to how much training you're wasting trying to be a Pikachu and keeping a constant 240 volts at 30 to 50 amps in order to power support items. It's far easier to learn and execute them constantly adjusting your amperage while keeping track of where you are striking so that you don't kill or permanently cripple your opponent. Mike Sensei paused, thinking, and then added on. Though, on the other hand, support items can break, and that can be really bad in the middle of a fight. But that's why I'm going to be making sure you can use your quirk safely. So if you do decide to go the route of support gear, you'll be able to continue fighting if your support gear breaks. Mike Sensei clapped his hands. So, are you ready for some hand-on-hand stuff now? Dinky grinned brightly and nodded. He was really freaking glad he listened to Izuku and went with Present Mike. This man knew what he was talking about. I don't know about you guys, but I did not understand half of that. Like, I kind of understood that, but at the same time, like, I kind of got lost. So, yeah, I kind of got lost there. Yep, no idea what was happening. I mean, like, I have a slight idea, but yeah. Also, are we gonna see an Izuku versus Stain fight soon? That's interesting. When are we gonna see Villain Bakugou? Is Villain Bakugou gonna appear in the Hosu incident? Is that where we're gonna see him? Because we're already past halfway through this, whole thing. Where is Villain Bakugou? I was promised a Villain Bakugou. Where is my Villain Bakugou, okay? I want my Villain Bakugou, okay? Am I supplying myself and seeing ideas that I could have for when I write my, fan fiction about a Villain Bakugou? It's actually gonna be a Villain Wonder Group, Wonder Duo, not Wonder Group, Wonder Duo, but still. Where's my Villain Bakugou? Where is he? I don't see him. Where's Villain Bakugou? Where is he? Where is he? Yeah, anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.